It wouldn't be a Friday without talking the big game. We're now less than 48 hours away. And yes, you just saw me talk with Mr. Darkron and a slew of other people and honor a true inspiration to us in the backyard, the underground, the independent wrestling circuit. But I got the guys here who were the hosts of the New York MLB talk and also from the Liftoff Jets. I got Chris Bazaya and Rob Maraska. Fellas, happy Friday. And how we doing tonight?
Doing good.
Not bad, Tom.
A big interview I saw earlier today with Howard Kellman, who was a graduate of PS 206 on Avenue Y in East 19th Street out there in Sheepshead Bay. I knew the school, everything he talked about, Sheepshead Bay High School, right there down on Herring Street, and certainly interesting conversation. Guy's been doing it forever, 3-time Hall of Famer, and we're here with you fellas. You guys are also Hall of Famers, and big game is coming up, but maybe we should skip it. Maybe just talk about Taylor's red dress. Maybe talk about Bill Belichick and his girlfriend. Maybe that could be somebody that could be his great-great-granddaughter. How about that? I mean, maybe I want to just talk about that. Well, what do you say? I had to bring it up because I think you put it in the group chat there, and I'm like, I got to bring that up there.
Do you think
money can buy a lot of things, huh? Money can buy a lot of things.
Green. Yeah,
she loves him for his looks, right? I mean, Jordan really loves Bill Belichick for his looks there. I mean, that was, quite a photo. I mean, at least Taylor and Travis make sense. I could see it. Taylor's pretty. He's a football player. But Bill and Jordan, it's, obviously all about the looks.
Yeah, of course. I mean, the looks of his wallet. Pretty fat.
I mean, he makes me look like a homeless guy. I mean, he's got, a lot of zeros there. I mean, he's obviously, definitely doing well for himself. And, thank you, Mr. Darkron. And why don't you go enjoy the rest of the evening? But that's okay. We'll talk about the big game. Maybe I'll go back to Mr. Belichick and Miss Jordan. But big game coming up. And you guys excited or what?
Definitely.
Yeah, looking forward to the game. Definitely. I know Chris is. Chris can't
rooting for the Chiefs, right, Chris? Rooting for the Chiefs?
Yeah, 3 in a row. Why not, right?
No. So, all right. So, we got the game coming up. I'll talk about the spread. We'll go with it again. But give me some of the keys from your advantage. I know we have the Liftoff Jets, Chris. I'm going to definitely play that tomorrow. I'm going to definitely be around to play it. We'll play some clips from it. But what do you think are some of the keys here in the big game?
I think, to be honest, I think Kansas City's going to try to stop Saquon Barkley, obviously, right?
That's the whole thing, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think the key for the Eagles, I think, is going to be, or the X factor for the Eagles is going to be Jalen Hurts. He's going to have to make some big throws. He's going to have to make some big plays out there because I think they're going to contain Barkley. Maybe not totally shut him down, but I think they're going to do a pretty good job of slowing him down. And I think it's going to come down to.
So you think Spagnuolo can adjust to what Barkley's done, even though I said it to somebody earlier this week, they haven't faced a player this whole year like Barkley and the Chiefs and Spagnuolo.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
So, I mean, it's going to be a big challenge there.
But I do trust the Chiefs and their coaching, right? We know Andy Reid is great off a bye week, giving him an extra week to prepare. He's got a great record. So I just think they're going to figure something out to kind of slow down Barkley. So, and to kind of put the game into Jalen Hurts' hands for him and force him to make a play. And we'll see if they could, we'll see if he could do it. I think he can because he's got the weapons. So there's no excuse. Everybody's, more or less healthy. Everybody's banged up by this time of the year.
Yeah.
But nobody's out, right? So if you're playing, you're playing. You're healthy.
So who does the extra week help? Does it help the Chiefs or does it help the Eagles? I mean, the Chiefs are the battle-tested team who've played here time and time again, but the Eagles have been firing on all cylinders. They've been the hotter team the last 3 months of the season. So who does it help, you think?
I would think it helps Kansas City just because of Andy Reid. He's such a great coach coming off that bye week. And I think to give that team an extra week to prepare, like I said, on paper are the better team. So if you give the lesser team, I think, an extra week to prepare, especially when it's a guy as experienced as Andy Reid and Spagnuolo, the great defensive coordinator. I think it helps them a little bit because both teams were pretty healthy. I don't think anybody really needed the extra week to get healthy or anything like that. So,
I would just think that the Eagles, because they've been the hotter team, that they would maybe want to have the bye week less than the Chiefs,
and keep going. Yeah, I agree with you. But I agree with what Chris says about Kansas City and stopping Barkley. But Sunday is actually Barkley's 28th birthday.
Wow.
Okay, and he's 30 yards shy of breaking the NFL season rushing record. Okay, that includes postseason also.
Okay.
Set by Terrell Davis for the Denver Broncos
1998-99. Yeah, he was quite a running back, and then right afterwards he hurt his knee and was never the same. But yeah, he had 2,000 yards in the regular season. One of a handful of running backs to have had at the time. He was like maybe the fourth running back to have had 2,000 yards. It was like O.J. Simpson, Eric Dickerson.
Yeah.
Barry Sanders was the year before, and Terrell Davis got to 2,000 yards.
He had that big bad problem with the migraines too in the Super Bowl.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. He did. But like Chris says, they're gonna have to stop him. But I don't know how. I don't know. Tom, you said they haven't seen a player like him recently, and you're right.
No.
And I think he's just gonna go wild. 28th birthday, Super Bowl. Third game in a row that he could score the first touchdown. So it's gonna be tough. But if any team could do it, like Chris said, the Chiefs could stop them.
Well, I mean, we're gonna find out. I mean, it's obviously these teams have played each other. They played in the Super Bowl 2 years prior, so there's some history there.
This year in the regular
season.
Right,
they played in 2 years prior. So you're talking about 2022 going into 23.
Right.
Now they play in 25. So it'll be interesting to see if that's something that motivates the Eagles, maybe, because they lost a game that they definitely could have won, and now they've got a chance to redeem themselves.
And now they have Barkley on the team, who's really, control now. So.
Defense too. You got 7 or 8 different starters on the defense, so it's a different team for sure. And I think there's a lot of pressure on the Eagles, right? Do they really want to lose to, Kansas City 2 times out of the last 3 years in the Super Bowl?
49ers were in that spot. They lost to them 2 times in 4 years, 20 and 23. Yeah. And if you're the Eagles, how many times do you go back?
Right.
And, get 2 shots, And
also, too, I mean, listen, they don't want to be the team that loses and makes history, right? That Kansas City wins the 3 straight. And you got to look at it from Kansas City's side. Like, yeah, everything is working perfect, but what happens next year if, Kelsey might retire after this year? I mean, he's not.
You think he would retire? Why? Because he's going to marry Taylor? Is that what you're telling me?
You got to kind of look. He's only got 1 more year left on his deal, so I think he only plays 1 more year.
And then he's going to tour the country with her, right?
Well,
yeah. I mean, why not? Right? I can think of a couple of worse things to do than tour the country with Taylor Swift, right? I mean,
but Kansas City's gonna, eventually this is gonna come to an end. So can the Eagles be the team to end this? I think they.
I don't know. I mean, look, they played before, but the Eagles
they lose, right? They're gonna come back next year. I mean, Mahomes is there, Andy Reid, so his team is still gonna be good.
And right now, it's the Chiefs. Chiefs are 1.5-point favorites, over under 48.5.
Yeah, it hasn't moved. That's basically a pick'em game, right? 1.5. I mean,
yeah.
Would you have expected any more than that, or what?
I don't know. I thought when it opened, it would open up a little bit higher, Kansas City. But then again, Phillies.
Eagles have played hot. They played great football the last 3 months. You can't deny them. They had double-digit winning streak. I mean, they've really only had the game in Washington they lost. Other than that, they've been pretty much played, dominant statement games throughout the last few months. Even their playoff wins, right? I mean, the Rams game, was a little bit dicey, but strong second half against Washington. I mean, we're able to move the ball, 55 points, one of the greatest playoff performances. We talked about it last week on the show. I mean, so really Philadelphia's got the momentum coming in, where Kansas City's pretty much won the way Kansas City always wins.
Yeah. I'm curious too to see if playing indoors, on the turf and all that, is that going to help Kansas City? Because you got guys on the offensive side. You got the receivers, Worthy, him.
Yep. Xavier Worthy. Yep.
This guy in the pre-draft speed and all that, and also Hollywood Brown. He's got deep speed as well. I wonder if that helps them a little bit. Or is that not really going to affect, because then the Eagles are going to get faster too, obviously.
Well, I was going to say, conversely to your point about Barkley, I mean, Barkley would be, I think, the one to benefit more, right? Because him on that field, and that's a field he's played before with the Giants. He's played some high-scoring games there, and that would favor him, right, almost as much as anybody else.
And he had that big game on Thursday night when they played the Rams in L.A., right, on the turf. So he had that 200, whatever it was, 75-yard game or 250, whatever it was. So, yeah.
Well, he might have had the NFL regular season record, but basically the Eagles sat him out. I mean, Eric Dickerson was talking about that, when it happened. So, I mean, that's, kind of, but do you think it'll be over or under in the 48.5?
I don't know. 20, you figure 24, 21, it's under. It really depends. I think they both got one of the best defenses in the league, right? So you would assume that it's going to stay close, but how many times have we seen, two defenses play each other and then it turns out to be the opposite, right? Turns out to be 31-28 or something. So I would think it's going to go under, but you know what? You never know.
You never know.
I'll come back to that in a minute, but I'll ask a lighthearted question. We do have some comments in here. I'll get to some of them, but are you watching the commercials?
I usually do.
Me too.
I'm waiting to see like the trailers for I'm hoping to see like a Fantastic Four trailer or
movie season. Yep.
Right.
Yeah, they're gonna have that one because I actually already saw the Fantastic Four trailer, so that's gonna be.
They might have an extended one maybe for the Super Bowl, but that's. I mean, listen, the commercials are always great. Usually, I'm not really excited about the halftime show.
Now, who's the halftime show this year? Remind me who's doing it.
Kendrick Lamar.
Kendrick Lamar. Meh.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah, it's.
That's a perfect expression.
Kendrick Lamar. I mean, take it or leave it.
Now, do you think all these people said they're not going to watch the Super Bowl this year because of the calls, the refs, and all the Taylor Swift stuff? Do you think?
Well, you got to ask yourself, we talked about this last week. You got to ask yourself, what are you watching then, other than the Super Bowl?
See, right, exactly.
I'm a point now in this country that you can't watch I can't watch a hockey game. I can't watch an NBA game. I'm not watching a college basketball game. I got nothing.
On, right.
I'm a sports fan. What am I going to watch? There's nothing. 6 o'clock on a Sunday.
A repeat of something, some show, like you're gonna pop a movie on, no, you're gonna watch it's the Super Bowl.
That's what I'm saying. I think there's nothing else you could watch. And if you're invited to a party, you're gonna watch the Super Bowl. I went to one Super Bowl party. I went to the Patriots and Rams game, which was a dud. That was 2019 going into 2020, I think.
Right. Yeah,
it was COVID, right before COVID. I went to that. That was the one time I ever went to a Super Bowl party. It was just like a guy, Joe Rosas, who was on the show years ago, and I went to his house. It was so if you go into a party, even the point is that you're only watching the Super Bowl. You're not doing anything else. There's almost nothing to do as an alternative.
Yeah,
and plus, it's a big gambling betting, day too. Everybody bets on everything, the coin flip, everything. So, people.
Are you guys betting on the game? You have a box? Are you guys doing a box?
I got a box. I always have a box.
Okay.
And everybody's got boxes, right?
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
I'm gonna bet probably. I'm gonna do props. I don't know if I'll do a game. I don't know if I'll do the game.
Yeah, I did. I did my usual bet that I've been doing for the past couple of weeks that Barkley would score the first touchdown in the game. So I won two weeks in a row. So let's see what happens. Maybe I'll get the trifecta on Sunday.
There you go.
Maybe you might. I mean, let me get to some comments here. I got some comments. We'll get to them. Zillow is here. Yep, we had certainly a lively episode, to say the least, earlier. Who's playing in the Super Bowl? Zilla just wants to talk wrestling, which is great because we'll be doing plenty of that after the Super Bowl with James Taylor. But it is the Chiefs and the Eagles. Joe Dell is in the house, the legendary Joe Dell. Would like to say hi, guys, and he's been working on the Heavy Metal Hall of Fame poster. Yep, hello to Chris.
Hi, Zilla.
Yep, hello. Knock knock. Yep, we see that. There you go. Thank you, Mr. Cron, who we talked about this earlier on his show that he was rooting for the Eagles. And thank you. You got that. You anytime, my friend. Inspirational wrestler of the maybe the inspirational person of Sportswire in 2025. Joe, is this the new show? I don't know what you mean by that.
Same as the old show.
Bill and Jordan is about true love. Yeah, I mean, really, she sees a lot in him in the looks factor. She really,
it's true love.
You know, she sees a lot in him. You know, he's definitely physically fit compared to she is. I would certainly think that's.
And she was wearing one of his rings yesterday too. Everybody was getting excited. They thought it was a engagement ring, but when they focused in, it was one of the Super Bowl.
Well, if I'm him, yeah, I mean, I would give all 6 of my Super Bowl rings too. 8 actually. You got 8 with the Giants, so yeah, I would give 8 of them up. I mean, because he looked like you remember Gilligan's Island?
Yeah.
Remember Gilligan's Island? The big guy. Yeah, he looked like the skipper. You see him with the hat on and the thing, and he's like that. And
the skipper with Ginger.
That's my first thought.
Right. That's
my first thought was Gilligan's Island. When I saw the Belichick thing, I'm like, this is Gilligan all over again. This guy who's got to be 70-something with the 24. And again, you know, like, I mean, there are people who are 70 who, you know, look great. I mean, you know, but he doesn't look like, you know, age, you know, doesn't look it. I mean, there are some people, you know, Sammy Hagar definitely aged great. You know, there's certain people that, you know, will pull the look off, you know, but he doesn't, you know, hasn't done that. But here nor there, he's going for the Eagles. Maria's going for the Eagles. Don't know why. Hello to Darkron. Eagles would be a cool win, but Taylor Swift will have her witch friend doing witchcraft. Who's the witch friend? Doing hand gestures so her boyfriend wins again. I mean, who's the witch friend? Though? I want to know who is the witch friend that she has. I don't know who the witch friend is. TBK and Randy is under the weather. TBK is under the weather, so they'll be back soon, probably next week. So they're under the weather. So definitely that's the reason why they are not here. Also,
Lamar didn't win the MVP.
Well, I mean, look, that's up to him. You know, Randy was Randy was sick, but TBK said he was a Bills fan too. So I mean, I don't know.
We've been talking about the MVP race, right, for about. A
you know what? And I saw the side-by-side comparison. Lamar Jackson should have won. So why did Josh Allen win?
I don't know if he should have won. I think either one could have won. You know,
rushing yards advantage was Jackson. Touchdowns was Jackson. Total yards was Jackson.
Yeah, no, number wise, he definitely had the better numbers. But you got to go with valuable. Who's more valuable to their team? Think of it that way.
Oof.
Because here's a good way.
Okay.
If you take Lamar off the Ravens and you put an average quarterback in there, do they miss a step, or do you think
I think they would probably be a playoff team. I don't think they'd be like 12-5, 13-4, but I think that they would be
10 or 11, like maybe 1 or 2 less wins, right?
Like 2. They get to the playoffs. Whereas Buffalo, I would say they're 6-11 football team.
There you go.
Like if Mitchell Trubisky was the quarterback there, he'd be like 6-11.
Right?
Wasn't he the backup? Right? Wasn't he the backup this year? So he's 6-11.
I'm just saying, like, if you're voting for Josh Allen, that's what you're voting for, because he's more.
Yeah. I think from that standpoint,
Lamar for sure.
Yeah, all right. I would say that's a fair assessment, and I would also say I would vote for Haley Steinfeld in the looks department over Taylor Swift. I've repeatedly said that. So.
I'm with you on that.
All right, there you go. All right.
Listen, I have nothing against Taylor Swift. Trust me.
No. Yeah. You'll go to a sports bar and have a drink. I doubt you'd be able to get a seat in a sports bar and have a drink if you don't get there early. But Taylor Swift's name. How about a man's name? Well, that's up to that's up to Travis Kelce. How about we got my man J Rod here? How we doing tonight? Can both lose, please? But so Eagles, not a fan of the Eagles there. Not even, Eagles not an underdog enough, I guess. But is it because they've been there recently? They've won? Is that
I think people want to see a different teams. I think that's what it
Yeah, I
is.
think so.
Well, people were rooting for the Lions and the Bills. That was
Lions,
the two teams people wanted, and you didn't get them.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah,
You said it
people
right.
were hoping that it was the Lions Bills, and of course, once again, MVP Josh Allen does not lead the Bills to the win.
Well, he got an award, but he didn't get the award that was the team award. You know, that's why the Bills are at home. But I mean, the Eagles still, I would think that, you know, they've only won one Super Bowl in their history. I would still think that people would want them to win. But J-Rod makes a point that maybe, again, the Eagles have been here a couple times recently. They've had success, and the Chiefs are always here. You know,
Yeah,
always...
but I think with Philadelphia, it's more about people just hate Philadelphia. Okay, yeah. That's what I think it is. People just hate Philadelphia, obnoxious fans. Like, even when they won a couple of weeks ago, what did they do? They set cars on fire. They climbed on the poles. A kid fell and died. Like, what a stupid way to die, right? Celebrating that your team wins is going to the Super Bowl.
Well, I mean, you're the Grim Reaper. You should certainly be talking. You're the Grim Reaper.
Yeah. Yeah, but you know,
although I could have been that, you know, earlier this week I chased kids in the street. They were yelling at me in the car, and you know, I got the license plate number, and it's like, well, what am I supposed to do? But you know, so I understand that, you know, but
those crazy kids.
Yeah, it's the same thing. You know, again, I'm walking up going from the store. I was on the phone, and then the one kid stops, and I'm like, "Do I know you?" And I didn't think much of it. Then I see the ones in the car again, but this time I was like, "F yeah!" I said things I should have bleeped myself like this, the bleep button we have now, and you know, and I was like, I waited for him, you know, and I waited by like the corner of my house, you know, where I live near. And then I saw the kids in the car, and then I chased them to the light, and I went in the middle of the street and took the license plate video with it. And I took a video, but
I'm still amazed. I'm amazed how you got them to pull into the circular driveway in front of the fountains, and then
because they were trying to get away, and they were trying to like not let me to take a picture, and that's why like they knew they did something, and then the doorman saw it. But you know, it's like,
yeah, he told me today that my doorman said that he saw it, and you know, he talked to you. But the funny thing is, I was there. I could have just looked out. I could have stepped on my balcony, and I could have saw it all taking place at that time.
Well, he didn't see them say anything. He saw the doorman saw me chase them in the street. So he saw, and they pulled into the driveway. And they tried to get away, but I got the picture of their license plate number, which I gave to somebody. I can't say who they were. I did give it to somebody, and they tried to get away with their face, but I got the picture of sort of their face, but I don't know what it'll accomplish, but I have it. I don't know.
But the doorman said that you actually leaped over that little wall.
I did. Yes, I did because we were in the middle of the street. It was like the light was like I had no choice. Yeah.
Chris, if you saw where this is, he jumped over like this wall that's in front of the circular driveway, and it's like that had to be amazing.
Like we're waiting for like it's like a wide light, right? And it's like where they were waiting. It's almost like you have a choice to either get hit by a car or dart and jump over to the street. So I just jumped through the street.
Well, Tom, that intersection's bad. I mean, how many times I was woken up like 6 years ago because a car crashed into the building and it felt like an earthquake.
Yeah. Oh, I heard that too. Yeah, that was I heard that one. Yeah, that was a pretty bad one. There's been a couple of ones.
I'm on the 8th floor, and it's like that place.
Where we live, there's been a couple of really like bad like car crash, because where it is, it's not a four corner, but it's like a three corners, right? Yeah, so it's got one wide corner, another one that leads like it's a downward slope, and then you have the main road. So your options are like either I'm going to bear left, I'm going to bear far left, or I'm going to go straight. And then on top of that, you have like this big like driveway where the building is. So you're almost kind of like, a lot of times is these cars dart, and that one intersection gets one light, the other one, they don't all are at the same time. So you get like tons of accidents with with all of it pretty much. So it's kind of
the doormen get combat pay in that place.
Yeah, they definitely get that for sure. But as my light fell, but yeah,
I wish some of the wrestlers were in this area because then you could have them hang out with you.
Yeah, well, they don't.
Unfortunately. All right,
it's just random, and we'll get to the comments here in a minute. But it's just unfortunately, it's just one of these like random things. It's just unfortunately, it's very just strange. Random. I mean,
I would. You know what? You got the license plate. I would go to the police and.
Yeah, they said file a harassment report, but it's like I'm gonna go down. I don't know. I'm kind of like truthfully, like. I mean, I said some. I don't know. I don't know what do I do because I said a few things to them too. So it's like.
They probably won't even do anything anymore. They'll probably stop since you got their license, pictures of them and the license. So it probably will.
I hadn't seen him in like 4 months. I just didn't think of it, anything. I just happened. I wasn't going to be home in the afternoon. I just happened to go out. I went to go get something to eat. I'm on my way back home. I had a phone call, and then it was like, that was that. And it was like,
what's wrong with people?
I'm my looks. It's a number of things. Can both lose, please. Oh, Ice Spice. I don't know how she's a witch hunt. Okay, he's a Seahawks fan, and they need to get back to their glory days. Yeah, the Seahawks, are kind of like in this middling 9 and they constantly are 9 and 9 and 8, 10 and 7.
I think they need a new quarterback in Seattle.
Well, he's a free agent, Geno Smith.
Yeah.
So you have a new coach who's going to probably want to have their own quarterback.
Yeah.
So it ain't gonna, it could not be Geno Smith. It's paparazzi in reverse. No, not quite. No, definitely not. Yeah, that's kind of what they are. To be honest, they go to Monsignor Farrell High School. 17 going on 18. Yeah, it's stupid. That's why.
That's the worst thing. You can't even do something. If you do something, you'll get in trouble.
That's why, unfortunately, I need to just move on from it. Somebody actually in the neighborhood messaged me on Instagram and said, I saw what happened. And she told me basically that you can't do anything and just ignore them. Okay, thank you. But she saw it. It was great. She saw it. She messaged me on Instagram. I don't want to say who it is, but
I got you. No, I know
it. Rob Morosk has the special 8th floor flat that comes with the cryonic chamber. Well, on your floor, has anybody died recently on your floor? Is that what he's trying to allude to?
Somebody did, but not. I think it was like a year or 2 years.
Do I know them? Do you want to say who it is? Okay.
It was just an older woman. I don't know if you know them. It was to the end
side?
of the corridor. Like if you get out of the elevator, you make a left. It's all the way down.
Maybe I did would have known. Glory days, the Jets' glory days when the Beatles were still together. Yeah, well. No. I mean, they had some good years with Parcells. A couple of good years here and there. Parcells, right? Championship game. I mean, listen, Rex, I disagree with that. Rex had back-to-back championship games. It was back-to-back title games with Rex.
Yeah, that was a 2-year run. That was nice.
Herm had a division title, a home playoff win. There was some moments in the 90s and the 2000s. It wasn't, I wouldn't say it's been a 50-year drought.
But we had a couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, 80s, championship game appearance, 80s playoff win. I mean, it's been fleeting. It hasn't been consistent. But speaking of the football and for a minute, Eli Manning, not in the Hall of Fame, not even close. What'd you guys make of that?
I knew he wasn't going to be a first timer. I think everybody knew that. I mean, he's got to go in 2 Super Bowls. Come on. I mean, he belongs in, but not the first. I didn't think he was going to make the first.
I guess maybe because he only had the 2 years. Is that what it is? What's the logic?
Yeah, you know what?
Go ahead, Chris.
I was going to say, listen, 2 year, the 2 Super Bowl MVPs, that gets you over the top. Like the rest of his career, it wasn't great, right? But you know what? When he retired, he was in the top 10 in yards, top 10 in touchdowns. So it wasn't the greatest career. But those 2 years that he made that run,
Sterling Sharp gets in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I that was good. Listen, those 7 years that he played.
7 great. But Eli plays, what, 15, 16?
At least, maybe more, right?
2004, 5, 6. He played what? Did he play the COVID year?
Um,
I think he played 16. I want to say 16.
Yeah, that sounds good.
16.
Listen, the 2 Super Bowl, the MVPs, like Chris said, that puts him over the top. He has to get in, he has to get in just for that. I think he deserves to for that.
And you know what? And think about it in those 2 years, right? They were the underdog. Both those playoffs.
I agree with that. With that.
They won games on the road. They won in Green Bay against Brett Favre. Remember what that was like?
Yeah. San Francisco, they won. They beat San Francisco. Yep.
Right.
Those are tough games to win. I mean, I know it was the defense a lot. Trust me, the Giants defense carried them to those Super Bowls and definitely helped win them. But the quarterback, is going to get most of the credit no matter what.
Yeah, I mean,
Joe
Dell says the Manning name will get him in eventually.
That doesn't hurt for sure.
No, it does not hurt at all.
So why not just get him in now? What's the point of making him wait?
I think there was guys that were waiting to get in now. Like we just mentioned, Sterling Sharp and Eric Allen.
Eric Allen was the one. I was surprised Eric Allen wasn't in the Hall of Fame. I mean, he was dominant.
So Antonio Gates, you had to put him in eventually.
Yeah.
I mean,
another one.
Second year, but he should have been first ballot, Antonio Gates. But it's tough, and they kept it small, which I'm surprised. Only 4 guys going in.
Yeah,
usually a little bit more, right? So,
6, usually like 6.
And there's a couple of guys easily you could say, oh yeah, they should go in. I'm not even mentioning Eli. I mean, you got what's his name, the wide receiver, Reggie Wayne from the Colts.
Yeah, Reggie Wayne's another one. A lot of people have been talking about him for a while. Yep.
So I mean, there were other guys on that ballot that could have went in. So I guess they wanted to keep it small, which I like. I don't like a big class every year. 4 people, 5 at the most, I think, because then it gets too long, because then you got so many different, the day, with all the speeches and everything, it goes on forever. They're great, but I think that's the reason why they want to keep it short too,
I mean, look, Eli, we talked about this the last few years, I mean, I guess he'll be a Hall of Famer. I'm always got the 2 Super Bowl wins, but he's a 500 career quarterback record.
Right.
500 career record, but all right, I guess he's in.
He gets in. He gets in. I'm confident.
I think so.
I guess the only comparison was what's his name? Was it Don Sutton or Phil Negro that won like 300 games and lost like 290 or something like that, 322 and like 286? Was it Phil Negro, I think, or Don Sutton? One of them that was like,
Phil Negro was definitely Phil Negro. How about Gaylord Perry too?
Yeah, they were like they won 300 games, but they their win-loss percentage was like.
And those guys didn't have, great World Series moments either, right?
No, correct.
I think in Sutton's case, he only won 20 games like twice or something like that, 2 times, 3 times. I mean, but that's kind of to me Eli's career almost. I mean, the stats are definitely there. I mean, we've done this before, but
he was in a couple World Series, right, with the Dodgers.
Yeah,
was that right?
He was. Don Sutton was.
Yeah.
Yeah, but his career in terms of wasn't like his numbers career-wise. He was a stat compiler, which is kind of really my point about Eli. Eli was a stat compiler.
You're right. Sutton, I don't think was an ace, right? Rob, he was never an ace. He was more like
he wasn't an ace, but he was, he was very good on some good Dodger teams.
324 and 256 was Sutton. So you put that up winning percentage-wise, it's
pretty.
It comes out to like 55, 45. Like, oh my God. But 20 games. I'm looking at it here. He won 20 games once. That's it.
Yeah, and his ERA was 3.26, but he won 324 games.
Oh, it's like he got in, but my point was that Eli, I would imagine would get in, but it's a stat compiler. It's like, he wasn't the most dominant quarterback, and Negro was 318 and 274. 318 and 274 with a 335 ERA, which is again almost identical. Now he won 20 games a few more times. He won it 3 times and led the league in losses 4 times and led the league in losses while he led the league in wins one year. That's a very fascinating stat. But he was a stat compiler. That's what it comes down to. And Eli,
Don Sutton pitched 23 years. That's when these guys used to pitch 20 years, 22 years, 23 years.
Well, yeah, not many of them now. I would say.
I can see 300 wins.
Jimmy Moyer pitched recently that long, right? 26, 27. I mean, Maddox had 23.
Jesse Orozco pitched 55 years? Seemed like he pitched for
You might be younger than Jesse Orozco, believe it or not. You might be. With a name like Gaylord.
I am younger than Jesse Orozco.
There you go. See, I got something.
Gaylord had 3 wins, but he also had 2 Cy Youngs.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I mean, but it's like, to me, again, we're talking with Chris Bazzai and Rob Maraska for a little while longer. We're talking, NFL, baseball, just shooting the breeze for a few minutes. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, Eli. That's my point. Is to go back to Eli. That's kind of how I see his career in terms of like what he'll be. I'm not saying I continue to say it for the last 3 or 4 years. I'm not saying he's not a Hall of Famer, but the win percentage is 50, the completion percentage is 60. TD-INT ratio, 366, 244. It's about like a Don Sutton, Phil Niekro, 57,000 yards. Again, threw for 4,000 yards, 3 years in a row, twice.
Sometimes you got to also look at, not sometimes, but all the time with football, it's a team sport.
Yeah, the Giants, I mean, they did have good years, but they didn't have postseason success other than the 2 years. So you're looking at it and saying, 4 times a Pro Bowler. He threw for 30 touchdowns 3 times, but led the league in interceptions 3 times. Like I said, I think he's a Hall of Famer. I think
so you take those 2 Super Bowl MVPs away, he's not a Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
but that's the thing. But maybe that's what the ballot, I guess, they think about is that
they probably look at him as, hey, listen, you're a Hall of Famer, but
we're going to make you wait
years down the line. Yeah. Let's get these guys that have been waiting. You'll get your shot. Don't worry. Not that they told him that, but
I agree with you, Chris. That's probably what they're thinking, and that But he gets in.
So I will bring it up because there is a little bit of baseball news to discuss, and that makes Rob Maraska happy. Was Pete Alonso signs with a 2-year, $54 million deal with 1 year opt out. And we did all this to get to this. And Pete really should have took the contract he turned down a year plus ago. And even the one he turned down a month or so ago. But he's back on the Mets, and here we are.
Listen, with the signing bonus, that will make him this year the highest paid first baseman, okay? Then he could opt out. So, I mean, the Mets got a great deal. Let's face it. They did what they had to do, and they were in control of this whole thing, okay? Alonso made a mistake, and then he made another mistake by getting Boris as his agent, because I think Boris is just, I mean, Alonso may have to think about getting rid of Boris. So let's put it this way. If Alonso has a great year, he opts out, he could get a big contract.
Do you think the obvious is he's opting out, right? Is that what you guys think?
But if he doesn't have a great year and he doesn't want to go through what he just went through, then he stays with the Mets. They try to get an extension going. So right now, I think for the Mets made a great deal. Okay, Cohen and Stearns knew what they were doing with this one. Everybody was crying and everybody was bitching, and they just waited. They waited him out, and look what happened. He's back on the Mets, and we'll see what kind of year he has. Hopefully he has a great year. If he opts out after having a great year, I'm happy. So we have to see what happens. So I think the Mets just played this really, really good.
What do you think about it, Chris?
I think the Mets played it very good, but on the other side too, I think they kind of lucked out a little bit that he wanted to come back to the Mets, because I think they needed another bat for that lineup. Without him, the lineup looked kind of. It wasn't bad. I'm not saying it was bad, but without him, that lineup, when you put them up against the Phillies lineup or the Braves lineup or obviously the Dodger lineup, that's a whole other ball game, obviously. But I thought they needed one more big bat. Like you can't have Soto. Then who's going to be behind him if Alonso wasn't there?
Now you got Lindor, Soto, Alonso. You got Vientos.
Nimmo was up there.
Nimmo, yep.
Now you got a little more balanced lineup. You got some
Alvarez maybe bounces back a bit now because the lineup's deeper. McNeil, you had a better second half.
Yeah, I think unless Soto gets hurt or something late in the season or whatever, I think he opts out regardless, right? Because next year, what is he going to get? $24 million next year? I think he'll opt out. It's only 1 year. He might opt out and go for a multi-year.
I think he'll opt out unless he has a terrible, terrible year.
Yeah, it's got to be really bad. But I can't see that happening.
I don't either.
Even if he does last year, which it wasn't his best year, he still hit 38 home runs or whatever it was, right?
37 and 86, I think it was, right? 37.
Yeah, I agree with you, Chris. We'll see what happens this year. And he's probably going to opt out and, they'll be right back where they were. But, they got...
Well, if he opts out, is he gone?
Not necessarily. We don't know.
And you know what? Here's another good thing that with the Mets, too. Now you're giving Vientos another year to kind of get ready to take over for first base. Right? Now you could ease him into first base instead of saying,
that would sound like Alonso's gone after the season if he's opting out. That sounds like you're not bringing him back.
And unless we were talking about this today before our show, me and Chris, and unless Toronto and Vlad, if they sign him to an extension, he gave them a deadline. If they don't do that, then Vlad's available as a free agent after this season. So anything could happen.
I think the Mets got the offseason they wanted. Is this the best Mets lineup they've ever had? I've heard this talk quite a bit. I was talking with an old friend, Robert Hines, of all people. Robert Hines. We were talking. He was my original co-host years ago, 6+ years ago, and we were talking about this. Yep, the other Rob. And is this the best Mets lineup in history? Is this their best lineup they've ever had? That's what we were talking about. He asked me, "What do you think?" And I'm like, "Well, it might. I don't know if it is. It could be. What do you think?"
It might be. I mean, there's differences like let's face it, the '86 Mets, their lineup, everything just worked.
Yeah.
And that was a great lineup. And the Mets had some good lineups.
1999, 2006,
1999,
2008.
This is one of their best,
87, they were 86, 87, 88. You want to say those are lineups, maybe 87, right? McReynolds, Johnson, Strawberry, Hernandez, Carter. That was pretty good, right? 99, you had Olerud, Piazza, Ventura, Henderson, Cedeno. I mean, Ordonez had like 70 RBIs out of the 8th spot. I mean, you had a really deep lineup, probably, Edgardo Alfonso. I mean, lineup was
the greatest infield ever they had.
I mean, 99, 2006, maybe 2007 or 8 might have been better. Delgado, Beltran, Reyes, Wright. That was, Moises Alou later on, but 2006 you could throw out there and say, I think the 4 names I mentioned there, Paul LaDuca had I hit 320 something. I mean, that was a really strong lineup,
Yeah, it was. But this is, let's see. I can't wait to see it. And like Chris said today to me also, we can't believe how close, spring training and opening day is.
Well, it doesn't feel like that because we're supposed to get hit with all of a sudden these winter storms. The groundhog, it's funny. The groundhog says, it's going to be early spring. And I'm looking at it now. Yesterday we had snow. We got snow tomorrow into Sunday, and then a bunch of times next week. I thought they said it was going to be early spring.
Yeah, the Staten Island guy said it was going to be early. Pennsylvania
Chuck said Chuck's getting early, and then Chuck's Tawny Phil said it's going to be 6 more weeks of winter.
So who we believe in?
Who do you want to believe? I mean, I guess everybody says, Chuck, but Phil is the one that said 6 weeks of winter. And it seems to me like this next week is going to be like winter. And I thought I was getting ready to break the shorts and T-shirt out, but I guess
But what
not.
happens? I got a question for you, Tom. What happens if Joe Dell sees his shadow?
Oh boy.
Joe Dell's going to probably then have to go put the Notre Dame poster up then and go sell it on eBay if that's the case. I mean, that's the truth. I mean, might be a different kind of truth, but, maybe that's the case. And he said 86 is the best ever. I don't know about the 86 is the best lineup they've ever had. I don't think statistically the Met lineup is the best they've had in 86. He's a good bat to have, though. Yeah. No snow in Delaware. Well, we're going to get snow tomorrow and into Sunday. So I don't know what it's like for you in Delaware, but Tuesday. Yep. Tuesday, Thursday. Yeah. And they said 6 weeks. It'll be 6 weeks early spring. And we're sitting out less than 6 weeks. And I don't see that. But yeah. The 2006 lineup, looking at it, Duca hits 318, 124 games, very impressive. Delgado, 38 and 114. Jose Valentin, signed him for nothing, 18 and 62. Jose Reyes, 19 home runs, 17 triples, 30 doubles, 81 RBI, 64 steals out of the leadoff spot, 300 right, 26, 116, 20 steals, 311. Cliff Floyd was hurt. You got Beltran, 41, 116, 127 scored. That was impressive. Xavier Nady for half a season. Endy Chavez made some great plays. I don't know. So I don't know if that lineup's the best that they've ever had statistically, but that's certainly a strong, potent middle of the lineup. 99. You look at that lineup, and you got there. You had 40 and 124 Piazza, 303, 100 runs scored. Olerud, 107 runs scored. 1996, 298, 427. That's very impressive. 125 walks. Alfonso, 27, 108, 123 scored. 85 walks, 304, 502. Ordonez, 60 RBIs out of the 8th spot. Robin Ventura, 32 and 120, 301, 529. Very impressive. Ricky Henderson. Hits 315, 37 steals, 89 runs scored, has 82 walks. You had Cedeno, 313, 66 steals, 90 runs scored. That's, very good. Benny Agbayani, Darryl Hamilton off the bench. So, 99, maybe you make a case, 814 RBIs, 87. I'll probably throw in this. They had some good, there's been a few years that they've had lineups that you might want to make the comparison that could be better. Carter Hernandez was still good, 20 and 83, 18, 89. Howard Johnson, 36, 32, 99. McReynolds, 29 and 95. Strawberry, 39 and 104. Dykstra, 285, 86 runs scored. So, that's another good lineup. So you can make a debate, to debate. We'll have to see. I mean, we'll have to. But, the Mets got their move, and the Yankees are done, you think? The Yankees are there. You're right with the Yankee off season, Chris? A lot of people, Bobby and his show have been saying the Yankees, they let the Dodgers outspend them, and
they need one more bat. I would like to see them get one more bat. Third baseman would be nice. They keep talking about Arenado from St. Louis, but
Bobby was talking about that on the show. I heard that.
He's fading though. When you see his numbers don't look good. He's still a great defender, obviously, but with the bat, his bat's definitely going downhill. Do you really want him for 3 more years? Because that's what he's got left on his contract. I don't know. Even at a cheap rate, I don't know if I'd want him. I'd rather, take my chances, go in to the season when you got DJ and you got Cabrera and you got Peraza, figure it out, and then maybe by June or July you could trade for somebody. But I wouldn't trade for Arenado. I don't know. I got a bad feeling about him.
Yeah, the numbers declining, I think, gives you a bit of a pause and saying, do I want to invest a chip into a guy that's, maybe on the other side of his career? You're looking at a guy right now that's 33, only hit 16 and 71. So if you look at that from a statistical standpoint, his numbers have dropped since he's become a Cardinal. 34, 105, 30, 103, 26, 93, 16, and 71. So that's a drop. Maybe you think with the Yankees, he goes in there with Judge, maybe some more pitches to see, but 16 and 71, and the at-bats have been pretty steady. His number of at-bats has been steady. His batting average, not what it was with Colorado. I don't know. 70 runs scored, I don't know. Rob Morosky give an accurate answer. He lived through every Mets lineup since day one. He probably has, you know.
I didn't listen. I didn't live through 1962.
All right. Well, that was going to be the best lineup, right? Yeah. Well, they had a few. I mean, they had a few good lineups. I mean, they had better.
Best one.
You know, I don't know, but all right. So we'll see. And you guys talked with Howard. Howard was a good episode. He was very insightful. I got a chance to hear that before we went on the air on sportswireradio.org. I know I'm going to give you the show, so it'll be on your Spotify. So I'm sure you guys will talk about this coming up in the next week, I would imagine, probably after the Super Bowl. We'll have another episode from you guys. And spring training will be right around the corner. Right next week is spring training, if I'm not mistaken, right? Spring training pitchers and catchers report. So games are at the end of the month, so that's exciting. And
first regular season game is only like 38 days away because they start in Japan.
Yeah.
Right. And then I think a week or so later is, the regular season. So we're
only March 19th or something like that, right? Like March.
Yeah, we're right around the corner for baseball, which is great. Obviously once the Super Bowl's over, like you said.
Yeah, football, once the Super Bowl ends, it's like
it's quiet.
I mean Islanders hockey, I'll watch it, but they
lost tonight, but they haven't been great. I heard
great.
I was hoping Randy was on. I was going to ask him. I heard.
Yeah, unfortunately, Randy, he's a little under the weather. I would have definitely. He'll be back. We'll do next week. We'll be here regular time. We'll do a regular show. Randy, we'll talk about. There's some rumors out there. Noah Dobson could be traded. Maybe Brock Nelson gets a contract extension. I don't know. Maybe making a move. Still got another about three and a half weeks until the deadline. The Four Nations break is next week, so Islanders still have some important games to play. We'll see there. Spring training, like you said, starts next week. Games are about 5.5 weeks away. That's exciting. And,
should be good.
And Eagles, Chiefs, you both got the Eagles?
I think so. No, I think the Eagles should win. So I'm hoping they do. I'm not going to pick the Chiefs, but I'm going
to hear you and Sharman talk about it tomorrow. I'm going to listen to it, I ain't gonna watch these NFL honor shows or these. I didn't watch any of the media days.
Nothing. So weak. I didn't. It's just too much. I don't want to hear it because it's the same. After a while, these guys have to answer the same questions. What are they gonna win? All right, but we heard this all week, so it is what it is. Now, just give us the game, right? I just want to see the game. Commercials. Skip the half. Hey, and when it's halftime, that's when you get up. You go eat, you get your food, take a break, and then you get back for the game. That's all.
22 minutes. Yeah, the 22-minute break. Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, but we'll see. Look, we'll definitely talk about the game next week. TBK will be here, and Randy will be back, and we'll have some fun. And I think we'll do a regular show. I don't think I have a guest next Friday, so it's Valentine's Day. So actually, it's Valentine's. So I don't know if you guys may not even be here. It's Valentine's. Maybe you guys shouldn't be.
We might be busy.
Maybe I should just have on a backyard wrestle. It's Valentine's Day. You guys might actually be busy that day.
It'll be good to have a regular show next week. I'm looking forward.
But you guys got Valentine's Day. You guys have significant others. You guys may not be. There may not be a regular show. Maybe the following week a regular show. I'll be here. Because
I'll be here next Friday.
It'll be a special about that show next Friday.
Yeah, unfortunately, I got no love connection. I need to stay out of trouble in the street. That's my connection.
Yeah, you gotta stay. You gotta stay away from those.
It was really like.
Very
1 o'clock in the afternoon. It's just. I think it was. I went to the store and I went through a little convenience slot on Forest Avenue. I think they saw me. I walked down. I didn't think of it. They were driving, and then it triggered me. And I said my things, and then like I said, I waited, and then I saw the kid, and I was like, I shouldn't have did it, but I was like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna race this kid. I'm gonna get his license, but I'm gonna get a photo of him because I knew it was the same. It was a group of them. It was multiple times had the same thing. I was like,
of course, it's not gonna be one person trying to do this.
No, right? And they had what triggered me was they had the photo out. They had their phone out, so they were trying to take a photo. So they were trying to post it somewhere. So that's why I was like, you know what, I know again, it'll come back to bite me, I'm sure, but I was like, I couldn't,
I'm sure that I think they're videoing you and putting it somewhere. I don't know where.
Yeah, I tried to look. But I could put the video of the license plate. I don't know if it would really be a good idea. I mean, I could show it here. I don't know if that'd be a great idea, but I gave it to somebody.
All right.
Yeah, listen, you know what? I really kept a low profile the last couple of days, so we'll see. But they need to bring back Kiner's Corner. Well, in the next life, they'll bring that back.
We talked about that today with Howard Kellman.
You know what? Did I hear that? Oh, I think you did mention that. Yes, you did. Yes, I did. I did hear that point. Well, Howard, he knows. We lived through 1957. It was his early beginnings.
Rob's Corner after every Met game. We come on and do a quick.
Thank you. Maria, thank you for that. I am trying to be careful. I mean, I can't help myself if I'm going to walk to the store and buy a loaf of bread to eat. Unfortunately,
you can't live in fear either. You got to.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's what it is. What's that?
Carry a bat with you.
I mean, I could carry something, but it's like, I don't know. It's whatever. But thank you, Maria. But he was an interesting guy, Howard. He talked about Rico Petrocelli, Sheepshead Bay. I knew the blocks. He talked about PS 206. Was it 206? No, 206 actually is Gravesend Neck Road. PS 254 is Avenue Y. Gravesend Neck Road is PS 206 and like East 22nd Street, which is right off Ocean Avenue. So he went there, which means he said he lived across. That probably meant he lived in the apartment building right on the corner between Gravesend Neck Road and Avenue V. Ironically, Angela would know because she lives a few blocks away from there. She would know exactly where I'm talking about. She's not here tonight because she probably saw the late time, but she'll catch us in the replay. But yeah, 254 is on East between 18th and 19th Street in Avenue Y. So, yep, he was definitely Sheepshead Bay. You could hear it in his accent. And great interview. I enjoyed that. And thank you, Maria. So let's get to closing thoughts. I'm going to go with you, Chris, first. I'll put your X up. And anything else you want to plug, share, or say, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Tom. Rob, always a pleasure. Just looking forward to Sunday, Super Bowl. Hopefully the Eagles win. And we could start spring training and start talking more baseball a little bit more, And exhibition games will be starting up soon too.
End of the month, I think, right?
Yeah. So before you know it, the baseball season will be here. So looking forward to it.
Well, it better be because after Sunday, there's very little sports talk. So, I'll talk the NHL a little bit, but Chris is here. Follow the New York MLB talk. Do that. Also, the Liftoff Jets, we're going to play for sure tomorrow. I'm going to play that. Also, there you go. And we'll take care of that in the chat. So thank you, Chris, for that. Looking forward to playing the show. Yep. Thank you, Joe. Yep. Enjoying the big game. Blessed day. Everybody needs that. Joe is on TikTok. Check him out. And Rob, I pass the baton to you for some closing thoughts and fire away.
Yeah. Another fun show, guys. Like Chris said, looking forward to the game on Sunday. And then, we have the lull. And then baseball starts, which we'll look.
Yeah, Francesca always said the one thing I ever agreed with him on was that's the worst. This is the worst time by far, the month of February for sports.
Yeah, definitely is. And I want to thank Howard Kellman again. We had a lot of fun talking to him, and we have some other guests coming up too that we'll announce soon. So we're gonna have some guests continuing throughout spring training.
Looking forward to that. Yep, Howard was definitely insightful. Ed Lynch, you had some good guests recently. Ed Lynch and, Howard Kellman, definitely really insightful, especially Howard, his background, 50 plus years of announcing and a guy that, came up from streets that I know. I mean, Gravesend Neck Road and East 22nd Street and, Sheepshead Bay High School, like a guy could hear it. He still's got the accent. The Indianapolis Indians, we still got that accent. Still, a guy that made it, and really good stuff. And Ed, Ed Lynch, of course, another New York guy, by the way. Ed's also a New York guy. He was born in. Was he born in Brooklyn? I think he was born in Brooklyn. I think Ed was born in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
He was born another Brooklyn guy.
Yeah.
Thank you, Maria. I appreciate you, and we'll check the guys out. And I'll be here tomorrow with some more pre-Super Bowl coverage with this guy Osiris, who's a big deal. It was a backyard wrestling legend, but he's got a new Twitch channel. He's going to talk the big game and talk about some video games he's doing, and that'll be fun. And I'm here after the big game. with James Taylor, who was here earlier in the show and the day. So great stuff. And check these guys out via the Listen Live button on sportswireradio.org. And also, we'll be here throughout on Friday. We'll be here Friday regular time. And thank you, everybody, here for tuning in. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice, figuratively, literally, where all wrestling matters and all sports matters. And again, if you're on Sportswire Radio, we'll go back to your regular scheduled programming and check the New York MLB talk later today and the Liftoff Jets as well to follow. The Sit Down Marks, the Squared Circle Radio, the Pinstripe Chronicles, Devil's State of Mind, Randy Dillon's Hockey Fan Chat, and some of the other great shows that we have, you'll see more of. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, where you are on the number one global radio station that is Sports.